Daily, the segment News Review. I am Nana Tufo Boateng. I'll quickly introduce my guests and then we'll get into our stories for today. To my immediate right, we have the Honorable Member of Parliament for Sisala West, the Honorable Mohammed Adams Sukbaru. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning.
But Honorable, is there a wedding after the show or something?
Why?
Today, the way you're dressed.
Oh!
It's like I'm going to challenge some groom or something.
No. I'm from here. You know, from here, Parliament will be sitting, so I'll be going to Parliament. And so I must look like a parliamentarian. We have a dress code.
Indeed.
So I decided to go the Western way. For the first time also to wear a suit. And so I'm not going for any wedding program. I'm just going for my official duties.
Right. Well, next to Honorable Sukbaru is one who I'm not sure if he misses the chamber or parliamentary proceedings. But
in fact, we miss him.
The House misses him.
In fact, we really miss him. He's, to be honest with you, one of the very objective when we were in opposition politician, and he speaks to issues as it is.
Right.
Even though sometimes he does the politics. But when it is true, he let you know, yeah, this one, my people actually got it wrong. And he always, is, to be honest with you, a lot of our colleagues in Parliament, we really miss him.
Yes. Honorable Dixon Adomaku.
Yes.
Former MP Anyasu too.
Except that if I was in the chamber, maybe this one Ghana thing will be fighting there.
Very well.
Because the one Ghana is bigger than the Levy.
I know him. He approached issues with the nationalistic way, and I know, of course, he would have supported this particular one Ghana. Just so he's somebody who believes in like we been as a country sustaining our electricity, and I believe that probably he would have even proposed something more than that, as far as it has to do with addressing the issue. I know him very well.
We'll see. We'll find out when we get to that subject.
I know him very well.
But joining them this morning is one who will report on their matters after they discuss it in the House. One who will publish their stories after they discuss it in the chamber. Larry Dogbe is the editor of the Herald newspaper. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good to have you.
I just have one observation.
Which is?
Our hair.
Has done what?
we all with another danko.
But Honorable Sukbaru has an boy.
Oh, really?
So he's mini ball.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
You're managing it.
I'm managing it.
So you know what's happened? This one has relocated here.
Right.
So all of us.
Exactly. We're keeping the hair downstairs instead of upstairs.
I hear your makeup people always have issues with us when we come.
They say when we come, the light bounces off our heads.
They should be nice to us.
I know, right?
We were once like them.
Anyways, let's get into our business of the day. Our first story has to do with the ongoing issue between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the former Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. The update is that the family of Ken Ofori-Atta has petitioned the National Central Bureau and the CCF for deletion of the Interpol red notice issued against Ken Ofori-Atta. I read from the citynewsroom.com, and the story says the family of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has accused the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, of abusing its powers in what it calls a premeditated vendetta against the former official. In a statement released on Monday, June 9, the family condemned the issuance of an Interpol red notice and declared the OSP's actions as violations of due process, constitutional rights, and international law. They have formally petitioned both the National Central Bureau and the Commission for the Control of Interpol's Files, CCF, for the immediate deletion of the red notice, arguing that it was procured based on manipulated evidence and withheld medical information. Honorable Sukbaru, I'll start with you. This is the position of the family of the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. They believe the OSP has a personal vendetta against the former Finance Minister and has overstepped or abused its its powers in executing or pursuing same agenda against Ken Ofori-Atta.
So, thank you very much. Let me use your platform to extend very good morning to your cherished viewers, and also most especially the good people of my constituency, Sisala West. You know, we discussed this very matter last week, but it's turning to a different angle. For the family to see that the special prosecutor has a personal issue with Ken Ofori-Atta, the former finance minister, to me, it is something that shouldn't have been said. The question is, are there allegations against the former finance minister? If there are allegations raised against the former finance minister, with the work of the special prosecutor, I don't think he just sits in his office and decides that I want to investigate Larry. I want to investigate my good friend, Honorable Kisi.
It's obvious I'm not his good friend.
Yes, yeah, he does not until somebody petition or an issue is brought against someone, and that issue is brought to the notice of the special prosecutor. That is when you see him going after somebody. And so there are issues brought against the former finance minister, and those issues are before the special prosecutor. He's only executing his constitutional mandate as somebody who is supposed to be fighting corruption. And there are corruption-related issues brought against the former finance minister. And the man, to me, has been, you know, charitable to the former finance minister. Right from February that he started this issue. We are in June. You same family, together with the lawyers, kept giving him assurances the former finance minister was going to return to the country. You gave him a date. When he, they said 2nd June, right? That was the last time.
Was the last agreed.
The last time agreed date. It wasn't the special prosecutor who said that by 2nd June, I want to meet him. It was the lawyers that wrote to him saying that by 2nd June, the former finance minister was going to avail himself. So, after 2nd June, the man was nowhere to be found in the country. And after 2nd June, you heard the lawyer, how he spoke. I mean, he was reacting to the special prosecutor. That's why I said here last week that the man has been treated by the former president in such a way that he thinks that we are still in the era of His Excellency, the former president, Nana Akufo-Addo. So you now understand why I said that last week. If the family can also think that they have the powers to just petition Interpol to delete that red notice, that is why I think the entire, I mean, Ken Ofori-Atta and his family, all of them think that we are still in the era of Nana Akufo-Addo, and Interpol is even beyond the Ghana's president. There has been
but they can't petition Interpol.
Of course, but
they have a right to.
They have the right to, but yeah, you can petition, but they cannot cite issues of the man having personal issues with Ken Ofori-Atta. Are there not allegations raised against Ken Ofori-Atta? There are allegations raised against him. Why can't they let him avail himself? Let Ken Ofori-Atta come to Ghana. Is it the
they
case that
insist he's not well?
he's not
scheduled
well?
for a surgery.
Same Ken Ofori-Atta was seen in US. You saw a video purportedly, allegedly.
I like that you are allegedly and allegedly.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all saw the video allegedly that Ken Ofori-Atta was in a certain restaurant in US. And you see, I have a problem with same Ken Ofori-Atta. I was in the 8th Parliament. I was in Parliament in the 8th Parliament. And when we were about passing Levy, he's here and I'm saying it. And then when they were short of numbers, one of our colleagues then, I don't know whether she was on the medical trip, or I think she had gone to deliver. She was even, you know, someone that was on, she had just delivered a bouncing baby boy or something. They had to, that member of Parliament was brought in by Ken Ofori-Atta to come and ensure that the levy was passed. Yes, with a less than a month baby.
She brought the baby to the house.
Yes, to Ghana. You can find out from any member of Parliament, and you see that I'm saying it. And so today, if you could bring, I can't remember.
Is this Sarah Adjosafo?
No, it's not. It was who? Adjosafo wasn't. Adjosafo was also brought to the country. But the person I'm talking about is not Sarah Joseph. When I remember the name, I'll mention.
Sure.
You know, many of our colleagues who were outside the country, in their side, were brought back. In some instances, with chartered flights, to
Came
just
back
come.
or were brought back?
Well, let me say, were brought back by the government then
Okay.
to support, including persons who were on medical trips,
She too.
to ensure that the e-levy was passed. Today, same person is saying that he's sick. He cannot come. Just come. I mean, we have facilities in Ghana
if
here.
he's sick, that's
When
a
you
different
say
issue.
he's sick, when you say he's sick, as if in Ghana, those of us that are sick, we don't attend. When you are here, if you are sick, the first thing we have to do is to take you to the hospital in Ghana. We equally have competent medical facilities that can really take care of it. So I don't know. Is it the case that the sickness is such that he cannot even sit in a flight to Ghana?
What do you think should be the best approach for Mr.
So
Ofori-Atta?
in all of these things, today, if Ken Ofori-Atta avail himself, before special prosecutor, and we, the people of this country, we see that yes, indeed, the man is sick. I don't think the special prosecutor will be that insensitive to see that this is really a sick person. He will certainly, they will give him the opportunity to go and treat himself as and when he's ready. Then they will invest. Even what's his name? The national chairman, the regional chairman of MPP regional chairman.
Nipambro.
Chairman to me. Even Chairman to me, when he was arrested and he fixed it. Allegedly, I wasn't there. Some said he fixed it. The same day he was arrested, we were told. Allegedly, I wasn't there, but so that's why I'm using the word allegedly. They said the security agencies.
Aren't you abusing the allegedly in this one?
Come again.
You're abusing the allegedly in this one.
Maybe we should start taking count of the number of
Yeah,
times he has
he's
been
using like
arrested.
10 times already.
Yes, that's why I wasn't there. But
Right.
I don't work at Yoko. But some persons said that when he was arrested and some of the issues were brought up, you know, the man said he was seriously sick. And so he was taken to the hospital. They treated him and before they brought him back to investigate, to interrogate him.
Right.
And so when he comes and the special prosecutor says, yes, indeed, he's not well. I mean, they can even say, okay, we are giving you more than even a year. Go and treat yourself when you are ready so that we can continue with the investigation. Right. But if you decide to sit somewhere and keep telling us that today you are sick, tomorrow this, I am coming tomorrow, every day they keep shifting posts. I mean, nobody will, sympathize with you.
Right.
You realize that even in writing to special prosecutor about this sickness, was it last week or so, until after his press conference, special prosecutor said that the letter, he saw the letter on the social media, they never wrote officially to his office. At least ordinarily he should have received the letter before even leaking the letter to the media, but he also saw the issue on the media. It shouldn't be so. So I think that they are just trying to, run away from investigation. So in as much as that I sympathize with him, nobody, we are all human. It could be me, it could be any of my family person that can also be in such situation. But I think that for us to really sympathize with the finance minister, he needs to avail himself. He should try, at least try. You can come here. People import, they invite doctors to come all the way from abroad to come and take care of patients. If it is possible, that can be done. He can come. If he can sit on a flight, why can't he come? He can come. It is not something that should be tomorrow, tomorrow. When you do that, even the few people that are sympathizing with him, it will get to a point that they will say, you cry, why? This thing, they will know, they will also run away and leave you, and it will be only you and your immediate family. And so I think that, what the family, the tangent the family is going will not help matters. They should rather look at how can we ensure that Ken is brought back to the country. At least let him come. If the situation is that, if the situation really need him to be outside to treat himself, the special prosecutor can even say, go and treat yourself in 2 years' time. Then when you are fine, you come for us to continue with the investigations.
Very well. Thank you, Honorable. Honorable Kisi, you think it lies on Ken Ofori-Atta to prove his medical condition vis-a-vis all this Interpol red notice and all?
Well, I think the special prosecutor is overreaching. That's my thinking.
You think so?
In my small experience, I'm not legal, but you almost the thought behind a warrant for arrest not being done by you, the prosecutor, but by a judge, is to, as it is, allow the judge to make a determination that there's enough, or you've exhausted all avenues necessary to, as it is, issue a warrant for arrest.
Honorable Kisi, hold on for me. I just want to bring Larry in here on the family's position before we deal with the special prosecutor.
Well, I mean,
the position of the family that there's a personal vendetta somewhere, that this is not justice but vengeance. What do you make of this, Larry?
First of all, I was shocked to read that part, you know, in the family statement. Now, but much earlier, I had been confused as to which part of the family. Is it his immediate family, which is the nucleus family, or the extended family? Do you get it?
Is this you wanting to extend it to cover known persons?
No, I'm not. I haven't mentioned anybody's name. But didn't it look strange to you? Where, I mean, the Ofori-Atta family. So you begin to ask, which side of it? Is it the one that he's the head of, which is the nucleus family, or the extended family, whose head, as of now, we don't know, because the statement wasn't signed. It was signed in the name of the family, the Ofori-Atta family. Not a single individual signed it. So I'm a bit constrained, you know, in talking about all that. Ordinarily, you would want that somebody signs it and then speaks to it. You get it. Check it again. You notice what I'm saying. And so it's a bit, you know. However, the bit about the vendettas you mentioned, I mean, why? Do they have a private history? The two of them. Is that something we don't know? And also, he went on further to mention that his actions are political. Okay? I don't know whether Kisi Ejabeng is a political opponent of Ofori-Atta. I don't know. I know Ken to be MPP person. Kisi, you know, he's a friend to, almost like a family to Ken, and then, you know, the Akufo-Addo, the Gabis, and so on. And, you know, I'm saying this because Gabi has sued me before. And it was Kisi Ejabeng who acted as his lawyer. Indeed, I have, you know, a file in my office where Kisi's name as acting as a lawyer for Gabi Asare-Ochodako. You get it? Gabi and then Kisi, I mean, they've run legal, you know, projects together. African Liga and then Cromwell and Associates or so, which is owned by Kisi Ejabeng. So again, these are friends. Gabi was instrumental in making Kisi Ejabeng, what you call it, OSP. Yes, I'm saying this with all the confidence that I can master. You got what I'm saying? So for him, for Ken, the family of Ken Ofori-Atta, to be saying that is the family thing is interesting, you know, it tickles me. For the family of Ken Ofori-Atta to say that Kisi Ejabeng is pursuing, you know, a political agenda, or he's on a vendetta, I mean, it surprises me. They would want to come and clarify, you know, a lot more, okay, as to what they meant by that. But I noticed that Ken has not been definite in all this. So in one breath, he's coming. He didn't specify when he was coming. Then later, it was moved to somewhere in May. Then when pushed further, then I think he gave a certain date in May. That also, then I think Kisi then moved in and says that, you know something, why won't you take all May and then come on the 2nd of June? Okay, just around that time, or the date elapsed. Then came another notice that, oh, you know something, give me, sorry, that,
Virtual.
yes, give me virtual, because I have to do surgery, okay, and I'm suffering from cancer, so I'm surgery. Now, there again, after that, he didn't specify that, he will come either immediately after the cancer, or 2 weeks after the after the surgery, or the end of June, or early July, or somewhere in August, or even December. So we don't know what is what. Whatever, but what we are being told is that, can you do a virtual? Okay?
That's the request they
Yeah, that is the request now they are pushing. Now, in there, Kisi says, no, I won't do virtual. Because we need you within the jurisdiction. Ken says, no, his lawyers, the other day we talked about Frank Davids, saying that, listen, the man can come. Wherever it is that you can find him, go and find him and bring him, and then come and deal with him as you pleases. That is where we are now.
Yeah.
For me, I feel that, I keep saying, that if Ken can do virtual with Kisi, he can do virtual with the media.
Right.
Do you get it? He can do virtual with the media. And just, state his point that, hey, you know something, guys, when he was in office, he had selected media houses around him. Okay. He can rely on those individuals again and say that, listen, guys, come and hear my story. This is where I am, and this is what I'm going through. I have heard things. Some members of his family are, are my friends. And so they mention, I'm not sure I would want to put it out there. But
so let's not put it out there.
But they tell me that he has a medical condition. Now, he could also do the virtual with the media people that he trusts. That, hey, guys, indeed, I'm here. And this is the hospital that I am in. If he could even convince his doctors to come and speak to some of the issues, well and good. Because is it Mayo?
Yeah, Mayo Clinic.
Yeah. Doc, from
Mayo.
Right.
From what you saw, do you think that request is authentic?
Now you're being host.
Yeah, is it?
You're being host.
Oh, no. Well, because people...
Larry's pushing you to the corner.
No, people are disputing the request.
But Larry, don't you think perhaps his actual health condition is something he's not ready yet to disclose? Maybe.
What I heard was close to cancer. So if indeed he himself and then the family, have come out to say that he has cancer and that he's supposed to undergo some treatment, I want to believe it. The person who spoke to me, he's somebody I really, hold in high esteem.
Right.
He won't lie to me for anything.
Right.
And so I kind of believe. So if the statement or whatever they are issuing is saying that indeed he has cancer and that he has to go through some surgery and so on, I believe it.
Right.
However, I
But
feel that
prove same.
Yeah, but I believe that if he could speak to the OSP between now and the 13th that he's
Scheduled
he's scheduled to go through the surgery. He could speak to you. He could speak to, whoever he chooses, so that some of this tension could be brought down, a bit more. And I'm saying the family will have to clarify what they meant by the political vendetta. Political persecution and then the vendetta that they talked about.
Right. Honorable Kisi, on the OSP himself and his approach to this matter.
You won't ask him to the Mayo thing.
We'll get there. That is when the family insists that he's weaponizing his authority as the OSP for a political spectacle. I see you've been taking some notes and all, but I'll have you speak to it. I just want quickly, Honorable Suparu, to speak to what Larry has just said, that if indeed there is some cancer doesn't he have a right to privacy on this particular matter?
Well, that is what I'm saying. It's, you see, we have come to this point all because of the way the matter was handled right from the word go. If the family or the former finance minister himself, if he was that candid to the special prosecutor, I don't think would have been where we are.
Right.
Larry got opportunity to speak to somebody very close to him, and he is saying that he's attempting to believe what the person told him, and he's ready to put it out here.
Yeah.
Nobody up for sickness, like I said, but I don't think that having, like he suggested that he could arrange to even have a video, press briefing with some journalists. That can be done even with the special prosecutor. Aside the investigation, you can have that one-on-one video. They can reach out to him to have or to arrange for his medical team to talk to the special prosecutor. But
that request has been rejected by the OSP.
That the medical
session.
no, the request was that special prosecutor he should interrogate him through virtually. But we are talking about special prosecutor agreeing to the fact that the man indeed is sick. How do you convince him that indeed what you are saying it is true? Right. That is one of the things I would suggest is to let the medical, or he can even reach out to the office of the special prosecutor, not on the basis of the interrogation, just to convince him that yes, I am telling you I'm not well. These are the reasons why that I think that you need to give me. So you want more evidence. He can have that kind of conversation virtually for him to see. When you see a sick person, of course, you will see. And I don't think out there people, especially people with professions like medical professional, would want to lie. If you ask them to reach out to special prosecutor they will certainly do that.
Right.
But I just think that mutuality is broken down between the two parties.
Yeah.
You get it.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because even when you the back and forth.
Yeah.
The interview with the interview that Frank Davids granted.
Yeah, exactly.
That was totally off. You get it. Kisi's words also, sometimes Kisi, you could notice that he's, angry when he.
He's angry because of how
he feels disrespected.
Right. He feels disrespected.
Right.
And so, just like you said, they were once close.
Yeah.
So this matter is like, you were once my small boy.
Yeah, okay.
But it is not. That is how they.
Not necessarily small boy.
Yeah,
right.
yes. So if not even small boy, you and I, we used to eat kenke together. So all of a sudden you get me. But they should understand and appreciate the fact that the man is not inviting you on his capacity as
an individual.
Yeah. He's inviting you on his capacity. He's
as OSP.
As OSP. That needs to be
established.
Established.
Let me bring Honorable Kisi in at this point, and maybe he can give us some medical explanations to what is happening.
The Mayo.
Well, there are two key things. One, I think that the prosecutor has the opportunity to prosecute this in court, and let us all know the counts or the issues that he's taken Ken Ofori-Atta to court, and then work it out in absentia. I think that
even with the interrogation,
the theatrics are becoming more than serious content.
Both sides.
Well, you can say both sides or one side. And my worry is that he's gone a bit too far already in terms of doing this Interpol thing. I'm not, we have to.
I want the man is not availing himself. This is an option available to me, so I take that route.
But really, I think that, so when he's actually found guilty, then what do? There are many things that you can do in between. And the consequences of doing this red Interpol thing mind you, based on my experience, it really hijacks your family even.
Yeah.
Okay, knowing what I know, many bank accounts will be shut off limit to the family, and you'd move from having money to no money, and I think, I mean, as we are here, we even have the chance of, quote unquote, confiscating Ken Ofori-Atta's businesses. I mean, there's so many options available to you in your country, because I mean, we all know where Data Bank is. We all know where Transition Enterprise. We all know all of these things. So I think that it's excessive, unnecessary, and I mean, let me be a bit difficult here. Supposing that what he's being charged with is less than the net worth of Enterprise, then why all of this international hullabaloo? I'm just saying, because you can, just as they put wage garnishment, you know, he could start off by doing the thing in court, taking over, you know, Enterprise, and then, you know, if he's found guilty, and you know, an offense that requires jail, then you do all these Interpol things. Now, I think that he's overstepped and almost now made the person guilty without any defense, guilty without doing the necessary homework. And that is where I have a problem.
You think that's how it
because
looks? That's how he
I mean,
paints
yes, I'm looking at
But
it
he
that
has
way.
said that Ken is a person of interest. He's a suspect that needs to be interrogated.
Yes,
and
but
so he
but
needs
but suspect doesn't mean that make him criminal already. And listen, I choose my words carefully, looking at the fact that the special prosecutor is overreaching, you know, and that is where I'm coming from.
Right.
And there's a reason why judges are made to, as it is, make you tone down
as a prosecutor.
because, you know, this is youthful exuberance. That's how I see it.
But don't you think Ken has also a responsibility to save himself the embarrassment?
He has, but he's in a hard place, you know, where he's looking at his health. And I know certainly there are reasons for him choosing medical care outside of Ghana. I don't want to go into that.
Right.
I mean, let me admit on air that I know his own sister is a senior health practitioner, not a doctor, I know, but I think a nurse, you know, with high repute.
The wife.
And the wife taught me psychiatry in medical school. You know, so I mean, the wife is not a medical doctor, but she's a psychiatrist. But either way, I think that for me, the special prosecutor certainly is overreaching. That is my thought. And you know, if you're a prosecutor, you also need to be put in check.
Right.
And that is where I'm coming from. That he needs to be put in check, and maybe he needs to exhaust all possible avenues. In fact, to say the least, what even prevents the prosecutor's office from visiting Ofori-Atta? I mean, this is a high-profile case.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, I mean, listen, I mean, if Nanado needs to be questioned, we'll afford him the respect and go to his resident and question him. I'm not, you know.
But Muhammad
so,
did appear before the OSP as former president.
Yes. So my key point here is that, and let me borrow from Honorable Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. I mean, he's carried himself especially so well based on his narrative about his visitations to Yoko and whatnot, NIB and whatnot. And I think that in the instance of Finance Minister and in truthfulness, based on the quantums of money that the Finance Minister managed, the items he's being sought after are minuscule. I mean, they are huge, but minuscule in terms of the kinds of monies that finance minister was pushing or managing, for our country. So, in concluding, one, I think that yes, Ken Ofori-Atta is being sought for supposed crimes, okay, but who is checking the OSP in terms of his overreaching, and being a bit exuberant, that is where I come in. That I think that, for instance, should he have given us some 6 weeks before going to Interpol? These are procedural administrative
No, but he
things.
listed first, and then delisted.
Yeah.
And then
Listed
when
as
the
wanted.
exactly.
But what I'm saying is that when Ken then said that he will avail himself through Zoom, and you are not happy with that, were we supposed to grant him? I'm just inquiring from a judicial mindset. 6 weeks, and then if we don't resolve this Zoom, whether Zoom or not issue for 6 weeks, I'm going to Interpol. I mean, that is where I'm coming from. And mind you, I'm being measured in the sense that, listen, in all of this is the country's reputation as well.
Yeah.
It's not just Ken Ofori-Atta. This is a former finance minister for Ghana. And when we, wash our linens out like that to the world, mind you, whether we like it or not, the actions of the special prosecutor in relation to our finance minister may even affect Atuforsen, because our finance ministry is being colored in a certain way, to the extent that if Atuforsen is in a meeting in international circles, already there'll be doubts, castigations, and anything that we are putting on finance minister today shows our inability to be very accountable at the finance ministry, and it will create unnecessary issues for us as a country. So we need to
headed by an individual, and it is this individual that is being taken on.
Yes, but my
not the
point is
ministry.
that
he profited.
my point is that
Personally.
we need to manage it carefully. Listen, the likes of Madoff, okay, who was a very powerful former, finance minister for New York Stock Exchange, then eventually did the scheme and things like that. The thin line between being a financial maestro and having these allegations is very thin.
Blur.
So I would just, I'm not here to fight for Ken. I'm not here to say that all that he's doing is right, but I'm being cautious and only saying that the special prosecutor needs to be also checked in terms of his rush to Interpol and his rush in dealing with some of these things. I mean, not to borrow from Dafiamapo, but Dafiamapo, who's a lawyer and NDC, is questioning why he didn't agree to even do the Zoom. I mean, this is not me.
But the lawyers also argue that to be able to take a caution statement, you would have to arrest, and they don't see how they will arrest via video.
No, but everything is not necessarily white and black. There are cases and there are cases, okay? And supposing that this man, I mean, listen, I've worked in police hospital where we had people bound in cuffs and to the bed.
To the bed, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that they should go and arrest him in the hospital, but there's room for making sure that there's some police presence at his hospital bed, and he's under detention, but in hospital. And supposing you go and he's on life support, what are you going to do? Unplug?
No.
Because you need to arrest him?
Yeah.
So I think that one, special prosecutor needs to know that he's toying with Ghana's financial reputation. I mean, with the greatest of respect. and that this will impact even Ghana's outlook in the international domain. Listen, it's like one CEO come, one CEO go, but the sins of, this is marring the image of the institution, the finance ministry. You might think different, but I feel that knowing my Oyibo people, what I mean is knowing my white friends, and the way they think, we ought not to destroy the gains. And mind you, Africa is labeled always as corrupt. And we ourselves are putting ink in this. And that is where I worry that the damage from this case, though we are going after Ken Ofori-Atta, we need to be mindful about how there may be irreparable damages to our finance ministry in terms of other things they are going after in terms of finances, on the world market, there's enough damning information in terms of how our ratings were low, and we are here trying to, as it is, improve our credibility.
Right.
So in one breath, we want to move from class below C to even a B.
Yeah.
And that is literally financial credibility. So special prosecutor needs to be mindful and guided by the fact that whether we like it or not, some of these things can damage our indices, and for that matter, impact on Ato Forson's work today.
Very well, thank you. Final thoughts on this in just 1 minute, and then I'll take
react to the ending part of my friend. I think I have a different view when he says that what we're doing would have a negative effect on us internationally. I rather think that we'll be seen as a country that is fighting corruption, and that would let the international community have confidence in us as a country. That will let them the mindset about Africa or Ghana
Arrest
that
the fake doctor.
we are corrupt. They should see us fighting corruption. And so what special prosecutor is doing, would rather put more confidence in our country than the negative, because he is going after no less a person than a former finance minister. And the person to him is not availing himself. So one of the options is to declare the person wanted on Interpol list. And he has done that. If you are saying that there are other options, which I agree with you that the man has assets in the country, probably we could find a way of trying to hold on to those assets to ensure that whatever times, anytime he comes, maybe when he look at the asset, the net worth of the asset as compared to what he's being, accused of, certainly he would want to avail himself. Fine, I would agree with you on that side. But when you say that going after him, declaring him wanted would bring negative effect on our
reputational damage.
Reputational damage on our country, I disagree. That would, in fact, what we're doing, this will actually make Ghana a country that is seen fighting corruption. And I think the current president has made it on several platforms that he is not going to joke when it comes to corruption. And so he's serious about it, and we must approach this with all the seriousness it attaches. So I still think that the special prosecutor is on the right side.
Larry,
yeah.
Final
So,
thoughts,
we are talking about Achimota School, product. University of Yale, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Product, investment banker, business owner, from the family of the president, who is a lawyer from,
It took you long enough.
Is that?
Former CJ son.
Former is that it? No, not a former CJ son.
Former finance minister.
Okay. From a very, very reputable family, who has managed, you know, the Ghana's, you know, finances.
Yeah.
There are reports that you profited in a certain way, and that come and justify this. For me, I should be the first person to come and, you know, avail myself to some of these things.
Even when I'm not well.
Is that?
Even when I'm
No,
not
I'm
well.
coming. So, but I've given you, I mean, owner of businesses, you know, what you call it, data bank, investment bank for many years, that runs financial transactions for government.
Yeah.
Okay?
And still does.
And still does. I mean, much earlier he had been involved with SNATE or Botan, if you do recall, you know, that project. Enterprise insurance, transition, you know, funeral home. So the enterprise insurance bit, listen, you are controlling people's money, collecting it and investing it into others. You know, people are giving you money in trust. So reports of this nature could have, you know, a certain effect on you, on some of those things. Could give people suspicion.
Likewise, with all these credentials you've mentioned, the OSP could have maybe backed down a bit.
Oh no, you and I have, you know, gone back and forth on this thing. And for me, I'm saying that if the man says he's unwell, okay, we could get media people. He should talk to the media. Do you understand?
To establish that indeed.
Yes, I mean, we are not medical doctors, but at least, I mean, we could use a certain sense to say that.
Let me add one thing.
Yeah.
That supposing he meets his demise, the state still has every right to go and prosecute this and take, you know, whatever is due the state. So why not just go the route of in absentia and finish your verdict, and then if the bill is whatever and he has assets in this country, you can, you know, make do with those assets.
I have said repeatedly that, listen, some of the things that Kisi mentioned are things that, you know, even the media reported on. And we noticed that there were other personalities who were involved, particularly the ambulance deal, for instance, the 307 ambulance.
The daughter and things are
available. Exactly. They are all available. Has Kisi, you know, called all these people? Do you understand? Can they be put on trial if there are issues? Okay, and then Ken's bit would also come in. Having said this, I noticed something. I think the MPP, you know, communicators, lately they've been on Facebook, including a property that I know belongs to Kisi, somewhere around Agbogba, that area there. They've taken pictures of it and then they are posting it on Facebook and many others, saying that, listen, you should come and also speak to how he acquired, you know, some of these properties.
He should come where? To the communicators?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, he should.
So you are
he should step out to come. I mean, I've seen many of those things. I mean, these are properties. Somebody drew my attention that he built it, you know, just around the time that he came to office. And then
Dagbogba.
Dagbogba.
No, it's not true. I live at Dagbogba. My house is not far from special prosecutor. Before he was appointed, he was living in that property.
So I questioned him on it, and then he, you know, he explained. He gave me this explanation.
It's not true.
He lives not too far from Nyaho
That's not direct people to where he lives.
Oh no, but I mean the thing is already even on, you know, on Facebook, and people know about it. I'm not sure he hides it, because when you go there, you see police people, you see military, you know, and so he doesn't hide it. Indeed, his gate is one of the most, you know, you can see through whatever is happening, you know, in the house. Do you understand? So I'm not sure he's, you know, he's hiding it. You understand? But I mean, if party communicators are doing this, you can suspect that there's an orchestrated effort to attack Kisi. And once it's going on that, you know, tangent, he's human. He could also, you know, react in a certain way. There may be then the vendetta that, you know, the Ofori-Atta family is talking about could kick in.
Right.
Then the political whatever it is could also kick in.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? Right. So we are not managing this thing very well. Dialogue is obviously broken, and that, I mean, mutuality is completely gone. That is why you could see them throwing words at each other. But for that, you wouldn't have Frank Davids go the way he went last week. You get what I mean? Yeah. I also know that the initial lawyers were Justice Minka Premo and Co. But I'm told that they said that, listen, they don't do the media you thing. And so then somebody else could then come in. And then Frank David came in. But his words were such that doesn't foster any, cordiality for even Kisi to say that, oh, you know something, you can take the whole year off and treat yourself. When you are ready, come and let's continue this whole thing. I think dialogue is more. But on the bit of the finance ministry and whether or not this reputational damage to the country, I want to ask the Honorable, when Atuforsen, a deputy finance minister, was put on trial over the ambulance, and then we had MPs from the NDC side marching on the street, boycotting parliament, sitting in the courtroom. At the time, there was no reputational damage. Ghana's finances wouldn't have been affected in any way, shape, or form. I mean...
No, let me be a bit clear about this. No. Okay. Letters of credit, and some of us, the MPs were very clear that most of the deputy ministers work under the direction of their minister. And should not be held liable for this. So that was one of some of us. And mind you, I always say that, when the executive can take a stand, legislatures can take a stand, and these things we were drowned out in terms of our opinion about Atuforsen's case. And of course, under the supposed Supreme Court that is so MPP, they ruled in Atuforsen's favor. So
it wasn't Supreme Court. It was a Court of Appeal.
Court of Appeal. I mean, still. I mean,
was it also MPP?
No, I'm just saying that the court system was seen as MPP, and even under that, he won his case. Okay, so my point here is that the Atuforsen issue a bit different. And many of us were of the opinion that most of the deputies...
So Tekpe should have been the one prosecuted?
Well, he should be the one held liable. I mean, that is
by
how it
Atuforsen's issue, the allegation was that he signed off.
Under whose instruction? And that's these are my thoughts.
Very well.
Okay, and I know that there are so many things that were related to that, because whoever did the release would have sought clearance from somebody up above the chain. So we know the nuances of this. But be it as it may, we must admit, from a corporate branding standpoint or from a corporate knowledge standpoint, that when these things happen, it dents the image of the organization. And this is, whether we like it or not, is a serious dent to Ministry of Finance, that their internal checks and balances were not rigorous enough to have not allowed finance minister to do or carried out these things. And even there's a GRA angle, which comes back to what he's saying, that how about the other players? Let's see you work on them and take them to court.
Very well.
It shouldn't be an individual.
Thank you. There's a message here that says, for me, I think Ken Ofori-Atta's family has no point. It's as simple as that. He's innocent or otherwise. With all these petitions and health issues, I think I frame up. He should come and prove himself innocent or otherwise. But those are your thoughts. You can also send us your thoughts, your comments, and contributions. This is Breakfast Daily here on ChannelOne TV. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll go to energy sector levy issues. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. This is Breakfast Daily on ChannelOne TV. I still have Larry Dogbe in the studio. The Honorable Dixon Adomaku Kisi is here, and the Honorable Sukbaru is also here. Honorable Sukbaru, the minority says you have snuck in a draconian Doomsaw levy, 1 Ghana CD levy on petroleum products. The good news is that the implementation has been moved to June 16 by the GRA. 2, the commercial transport operators have suspended their intended strike. Else this one would have been discussing a strike by the commercial transport operators. But this 1 CD levy, you see, we are getting to not necessarily conflicting, but reasons for it. 1, to address the energy sector debt, and 2, to pay for fuel for generation. Which is which? Which one should we go with? Because if we look at even your target, it nowhere comes close to addressing either of the 2 reasons. So which one should we go with?
So this particular tax has become necessary because of the, like you rightly said, we have a huge amount of debt in the energy sector. And you know very well that as a country, we cannot joke with our electricity production. Even in this studio, we are here and we are able to do this because we have a stable light in the studio here. And so government is spending huge sums of money in procuring liquid fuel to power the Dama plant to enable us have electricity. In as much so, this is the situation. And at the same time, government is supposed to be servicing the debt that is already there. So you have to be looking for money to be servicing the debt. At the same time, looking for money to be able to purchase for the fuel for generations. And so that is how come we are here, we are today. And so in addressing this, we have been able to stabilize the city, which has made the fuel reduce from 16 cedis per liter to somewhere 12 cedis. That's what we say. So if we are able to do this, which means that if we are asking every Ghanaian who buys fuel to pay 1 Ghana cedi on a liter, you still have it more cheaper than it used to be 6 months or 7 months ago. Don't forget, somewhere 2016, a liter of fuel used to be sold at 16 Ghana cedi. And today, if government has reduced the fuel, the price of fuel, a liter of fuel to 12 cedis, and government is saying that every liter, let us pay additional 1 Ghana cedi. So to enable us have, a constant supply of power. I think that even though it is difficult, I think it is something that as people we should bear with government. You know, this government has promised to ensure that a lot of things are reset in this country. And so in resetting the mess that has been created by the previous government, we sometimes it is difficult, but we must take some of these decisions, and especially that we have been able to stabilize the cedi. We have made a lot of gains dollar to cedi, and that has seen a reduction in fuel. You know, I mean a reduction in sale of fuel. I think it is something we should try to, as people
you criticize the 1%
It is not, so the e-levy was nuisance. That's what I'm saying.
But e-levy was optional for people who elect to do that
please, what we are saying is that
this one is not
this is a purpose tax. The e-levy, what were they taking it for? We are talking about when this money, we have the purpose is that, yes, that's what I'm saying. So the reason why we are saying two things here. First, there's a debt for us to pay. At the same time, we need, I think, by the end of every, I forgot the figures, government needs to generate 13 billion annually or so to be able to purchase the liquid fuel to power the Dama plant. So,
but this levy is giving you just 5.7.
Exactly. So at least it will reduce. So that 5.7 that government would have been taking elsewhere to be purchasing the liquid fuel. This 5.7 can be used to addressing, trying to service the debt. And so this is what we are talking about. Doing so, we will be able to provide constant supply of power for production to go on. And that is what we are saying. So it is not something, if you look at it, the reason why we decided to do this at this particular point, it wasn't something that was planned.
Are you taking advantage of the goodwill you're enjoying?
No, it's not advantage. It is not an advantage. It is not a goodwill.
Abuse of majority.
No. That is no. It is
because
not.
We hear it was a one-page addendum.
No. Forget about what they are saying. It wasn't. There's nothing that happens in Parliament without nobody knowing. Even if you are minority, there are only two.
Was it on the order paper, the original order paper?
They said it wasn't on the order paper, and they never raised any issue. They debated it when
That's
it was.
They worked out.
They didn't
know work out that night.
Of course, they are sitting there wouldn't have even. Let me tell you.
So that means it's abuse of.
Forget about the optics. Those were optics. They can't tell me that it was just a midnight something, that it wasn't on the agenda.
Discussions went on behind the scenes.
Don't pick up the order paper last minute.
no, last minute. They never had any committee sitting. They didn't attend. They boycotted the plenary, but they didn't boycott the committee sittings. Did they go and find out whether they were part of the committee meetings? They were part of the committee meeting. They sat through the committees.
And what was their input during the committee sitting?
That is why you, as a journalist, you must find out.
Oh, he's finding out from you.
Well, I am saying that the minority, they were part of the committee. I saw the ranking member addressing the press conference yesterday. He was part of the committee.
Are you a member?
You cannot just go and pick something straight and bring it to the plenary straight.
Are you a member of that committee?
I am.
Oh, you are a member of the energy committee.
Yes, I am. So I am saying that let's put that. That should leave the office to them to do the office.
Did they support this at the committee level?
Well, of course, they wouldn't support. They raised some issues. You understand? But I'm saying that then they should have even said that they wouldn't be part of even the energy. I mean, the committee meeting too. They shouldn't have attended. They should not have attended the committee meeting, but they were part of the committee meeting. They sat through the committee. A report was raised. A report was said. They came to debate the report. When it was time for the speaker to put in the question, I saw them washing their hands. They said they were walking away.
We're seeing some pushbacks. You think consultation is what is failing at the NDC on this particular levy?
All right. So there are two things. I would call them very bad on the initial stakeholder engagement. I'll score them very bad in the sense that this came through a certificate of urgency, which means that many people were surprised when it came. They took away E-Levy in the morning and then brought this one in the evening. And they didn't allow us to enjoy the grace period of not having E-Levy. And I think
still paying less.
And I think that one, these are the facts. E-Levy is much smaller than the 1 Ghana per fuel. Two, the number of people impacted or affected are huge, more so than E-Levy.
That's true.
If you look at the subscribers of mobile network and look at the number of people that consume fuel in this country and the downward impact to passengers, Okada riders, I mean, people moving produce, agricultural produce to the city. All of these people will be impacted. And you see, I worry because of one key thing. To power these plants, you can also use gas, more so than liquid fuel, which is more expensive. So it begs the question, have we even thought through the true cost or the true cost-saving approach, which then would warrant doing 1 cedi? And I must say this to Honorable Atufos in that I think that his math is off in the sense that maybe if we work hard on streamlining ECG's operation, we might not then need the 1 cedi as he thinks.
Addressing the inefficiencies.
Yes, the inefficiencies should be looked at first. And when you attend to those and you ensure that ECG is getting all its revenues from the likes of Jubilee House, which now the president, I think
the president has exempted
I
the
think
Jubilee
it's
House
the
and a
most
few
ridiculous
stations.
in the sense that you should practice what you preach. And in more so, I know the White House pays electricity in America. Yes, they pay for it. So it's a wrong precedent to say that, hey, as for Jubilee House there, we consume as we want. To be energy efficient, it should start from the Jubilee House. And people at the Jubilee House should know that this is how much electricity we're consuming, this is how much we're paying, and the Chief of Staff need to then even encourage solar panels at the Jubilee House, so that it's the most energy efficient place on planet
Leadership
Ghana.
example.
Yes. So what the president has done for me is a reverse of somebody who is environmentally responsible or who is aware of the new green, project in the world. If you invite people to your office and there's no semblance of you being energy conscious, I worry. So I think that Mr. President's decision to exempt Jubilee House is wrong. and it's not a very good example for somebody who wants to preach efficiency.
Right.
Now, if all governmental institutions are being made to be energy conscious and as such pay their debt to ECG, we may not be here. You know, I mean, we had light outages in Parliament, and thanks to Dubik, I was like, wow, this guy's got balls to cut off the legislature. You know, I mean, and as it is, the new MD for ECG, I even wonder where he or she is, because what are they doing to be efficient?
Right.
Some customers are complaining that, listen, we prepay, we pre-finance for the service. I mean, this is in economics. There's nothing better than getting paid before delivering service. And how do you run at a loss? So, two key things. One, those members of parliament who are ready to, you know, smash tables, beat up their own colleagues for e-levy, a very tiny amount, where are they now? Where are they now? Where are they now? And now that the government has brought something, you know, I mean, what has changed?
He himself can be
the weight. I mean, listen, if e-levy was lightweight, this one is heavyweight championship.
Yeah, it's somewhere around 8%.
And if you know, now we don't see TICOs around, but we see VITs.
Yeah.
If e-levy was VITs, this one is a Mack track.
Wow.
Okay, and it's heavy. It's a heavyweight. So some of the arguments that I agree with the minority is that, one, can you be more efficient at ECG so that we don't have to pay all of this? Shall we consider natural gas to liquid fuel, which is much cheaper and produced here, you know?
Yeah.
And then can we reduce that one to 0.5 or 0.4? I mean, you did the same thing with e-levy when finance minister said a certain percentage. You said no. And we jawed.
Yeah.
But in this case, don't take dissenting minds for granted. I have come to respect dissenting minds, and many a times I've come to appreciate those who were killed for having dissenting minds, for saying that the world moves round, and some said no, and they were maimed and killed for that.
Galileo.
Yeah, I mean, many instances, and history, you know, should be your guide. Some of us were dissenting in our own party. They literally executed
They've
us.
killed you.
And we stand, we are correct now. I mean, based on the things we're saying.
You've been vindicated.
So the NDC ought to be careful. Is luxurious to have this majority, but it can be a curse in itself that you take action. You know, Alan Bagbin told us that doing e-levy was literally signing ourselves out of government. And he's right.
Yeah.
What is he going to say today to NDC, since it's his own party?
He's still observing.
I'm hoping, he didn't observe then, he spoke. And I'm hoping that Alan Sumani Bagbin, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, Alban, sorry.
Yeah.
Your
ordinary citizen, your ordinary citizen is waiting to hear from you, Mr. Speaker, in relation to this Gangantuan, and I'm not saying Kitwa or Gangantuan. This is not in Kokon Kitin. This one is a heavyweight for taxation.
Per the calculations they're making, we should have some timelines for this implementation. Let's know how long they're going to implement this. For how long are they going to collect it to address whatever challenge they're telling us they're going to do?
I'm happy about the question, which is how long are they going to collect it? Because see, it's like we are paying double. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, ECG or let's say the PURC is increasing tariff.
14.7.
They have.
You get it?
Not that they will.
So, and they are telling us that it is to service certain debts. It is to keep the lights on and so on.
Yeah.
And very often, amidst protest, we've all agreed and then we pay because you need the lights on. Okay? So that is paid. Now, then we come back to what is happening now. Where you are to pay, you know, 1 CD on every liter of fuel you buy. what it means is that when you buy 1 gallon, you are having to pay, I think, four cedis on that.
Yeah,
so
4
the more
liters is giving you 1 gallon.
yes, the more you buy, the more you pay. You get it.
Yeah.
So I'm paying electricity.
More for electricity.
Exactly, and then this
paying
one
more
also,
for
and it
fuel.
is to service a
The
certain debt.
same problem.
The same legacy debt that we kept talking about, which brought in ESLA.
Tesla.
Then ESLA, we couldn't manage it well.
Yeah.
Same kind of Ofori-Atta, you know, later on, I think collateralized it
Yes.
or so,
Yeah.
okay? And went taking loan from it. Meanwhile, we're told that the more the tariff goes up, it was to service a pool from which the IPPs were to be paid.
Paid. Yeah.
Under the previous government, the Ofori-Atta government, we all saw how constantly the IPPs would come out and say and threaten that they were going to put up the light, car power, you know, is it
Sana Asogli.
exactly? Sana Asogli even put it off. I mean, for some time, and many others.
Yeah.
You get it? Because they were not being paid. They told us that their operational costs were not being met by the government.
Yeah.
Okay? And so, I mean, we experienced doom. So, now you recall Napo being confronted, you know, that listen, admit the thing that listen, it is doom. So,
He says doom.
he said it's doomed CSA,
Yeah.
and that cannot be, you know, that can be compared to what was happening under Mahama. Indeed, the same MPP or the previous government said that, hey, you know something, a vote for Mahama
It's a vote for
is a return of Dumso. And when Berdy had it taken over, then we saw the lights going off. John Jinapo had to move in and say that, hey, MPP didn't leave fuel, and so we need to mobilize money to go and buy fuel to keep the light on. Back and forth, the lights, I mean, it's been going off.
Erratic.
Yes, exactly. Now, in bringing this, obviously you have psyched up people to believe that, hey, there is something wrong with the system. So when you want to do this, engage people.
Yeah.
Engage people, engage the stakeholders. Talk to the media, talk to the CSOs, talk to the drivers, and get
The oil marketers,
exactly,
the
and then
BDCs,
get everybody along. That guys, this is the situation we came to meet, and that we need your support.
Yeah.
So then every is
I think
That I
there's
agree
proper
with you.
communication.
Yes,
the
proper-
backlash
yeah,
has
exactly.
been this-
the engagement wasn't probably done. That one I must admit us.
Bro,
That we
like
should have
you still
engaged.
yeah. So then, I mean, I heard about it. Let's say in the evening of yesterday. By morning, the thing was out there.
That's why they say it's midnight robbery.
You know, and I heard it from a CSO friend of mine who said, listen, Jinapo called him to his office and said, oh, Charlie, this is the situation we are having, and so we need your support to do this. And, you know, the CSO person said, no, I can't support this thing. But by the time he woke up in the morning, you know, the thing was out there.
He did it.
Charlie, why?
Right.
You get it? I mean, had they engaged people, we wouldn't be having this kind of backlash where even though the thing has been passed, there's, you know, a certain freeze on it until, you know, a certain date.
Yeah.
I mean, Atufosin is reported to have said that he's expecting 5.7 billion out of this. Is it a yearly thing? Yeah.
A year.
To service a debt of $3 billion. Now, can he tell us that this is going to run up to a certain level?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that after that debt is settled, we can all go back to whatever. Because there's this claim that you have close to 26% of, you know, taxes and levies on, you know, the fuel alone.
the
that
price
we,
build-up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, it happened under the previous government, you know, something fuel marking, they brought it.
The margins.
The
and all
margins,
that.
something fuel tracking, it's brought. So fuel has become like a low-hanging fruit where everybody goes in there to plant.
Yeah.
Just like the ports we have.
Yeah.
The list of things, somebody is slapping something on it.
Exactly.
Now, what we are dealing with is where we are having to pay double. I'm paying for electricity at a certain price, and I'm paying for fuel, and the money from there is also going to service, you know, this same
So
electricity.
tariffs versus levies.
Yes. The transmission efficiencies, we all know.
The losses.
The losses and so on. As I speak to you, most of my the air conditions in my house are destroyed.
Hey, you have more than one.
Oh, yeah, obviously. But this weather, if you don't have more than one, what would you do?
Oh, you have air conditioning in your house?
Yes, I do.
Well,
Okay. Then you have, the fridges and refrigerators are also off. Because where I live, around Asaliboche, the power situation there is bad.
terrible.
And we've reported many times to ECG. They won't come. Meanwhile, the list of things, unless they don't see the, the cloud forming, they put off the light.
It goes off.
The least amount, even when it's drizzling, they put the light
It goes
off.
off.
I mean, we can't live in a country like that.
this. Yeah.
I mean, people take electricity, they are not paying.
Yeah.
Illegal connections all over.
Some have been exempted.
Exactly. And then you would have to be, bearing the brunt
Yeah.
of all that inefficiency or somebody's thievery. A lot of those things would have to be checked.
Very well.
But having listened, I read the MPP, the minority statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to ask that some of the suggestions
Could they
talk-
have implemented?
Yeah, they could have implemented it. They were so disingenuous enough to tell us that.
Opposition gives you a very good view of the situation. Do you know that?
Then they had accused Ameri.
Right.
They had made mention of that most of,
right.
I'm coming, just 1
wrap
minute.
up on this
Yeah,
one.
that most of the power whatever that were signed were totally unnecessary.
The take-up pay
The
agreement.
take-up-pay agreement, and that they are now suggesting that hey, something, the NDC government should now do something about it. For 8 years that you were in office,
They actually renegotiated some to add more capacity.
you see, so you didn't do all that.
Very well.
Today you found your voice, and you are repeat. If I were them, I wouldn't have organized this press conference at all.
At all. Very well.
Because it doesn't, speak well of what they are demanding. You get what I'm saying? And then they are saying that the drivers, they are going to engage the drivers to, as part of their advocacy. Drivers in the last election, before the last election, or in the last government, kept complaining about how fuel prices were going up.
Skyrocketing, yeah.
Nobody listened to them. Nobody
Larry,
did.
thank
So if today this has come and you want to engage them, you are engaging them to whip them against the government, or you want?
Well, they
what
have
do you?
suspended their intended strike, so we'll see how the engagements go forward. We have just about 5 minutes to go, so we're going to do a minute each on the nurses' strike. Honorable Supari, you start for me. Where do we go from here? Because now, where the scale of the strike, lives are going to be lost, and we shouldn't be here as a country.
I have persons, let me say, constituencies like mine are very much going to be affected, especially that even the health situation in my constituency is not the best. You can have a district with 50-something communities cut across, having one medical doctor,
Wow.
and you have nurses basically that are doing the job. And our place, we see nurses, my constituency, but we see nurses as our medical doctors.
Play the role of doctors.
Yes, they play the role of doctors. And so if it happens this way, I think that we are going to suffer from this. So I want to use your platform to urge the health minister. I know his capabilities. He should, find a way of addressing this situation, and also appeal to the nurses that they should go back to the negotiation table to have this thing deliberated between them and that of the ministers. Of course, also they should appreciate the fact that this is a new government. We are still struggling to be on our feet. This government has taken over reins of affairs just 6 months ago, and these negotiations were not done by this government. And so it was very difficult for us to have planned. And so
It wasn't even captured in the budget.
Exactly. So they should also reconsider their decision and get back to work as negotiation will continue. Staying off from work would really cause a lot of.
Are you running to heaven?
Our time is up.
when the fundamentals of the forex exchange is bad, nurses would expose you.
How? What are you talking about?
How did we come by this?
I'm done talking. The economy is not just FX. The economy has so many aspects of it, and our health is very important. So, finance minister ought to find some money and resolve these issues with nurses. So, Honorable Atta it is not just about the FX, it's about our health.
Right. Thank you. Larry.
Yeah, quickly. So this was agreed on somewhere in
May 2024.
Exactly. With the promise that it was going to be implemented in January 2025.
No. It was supposed to be implemented in 2024, but then one group, NES group, sued the GRNMA regarding same conditions, and that's what dragged. I think the judgment came somewhere December 2024. And so implementation was scheduled for 2025, January. Yeah.
We might want to find out their reasons for suing.
Right.
But with back and forth. I mean, I've heard the argument that it was negotiated last year and it was supposed to be implemented this year.
The implementation was scheduled for last year.
Okay. However, I mean, these are election year promises. Some of these things, I mean, they give them to you. It's like, you know, you want to marry a girl.
You are telling me.
And what through the process of marrying a girl.
Yes, you know, everything, you know, she demands, you want to give. You know, then you, for the marriage proper. After the honeymoon, then everybody will see.
Reality will set in.
Yeah, reality will set in.
Right.
I clear.
So this thing, I mean, according to the nurses, they presented it to the Mahama government in January with the hope that it was going to be reflected in the budget. It didn't show up. It wouldn't have shown up because then the government had just started forming.
Exactly.
And then they don't know what's in the coffers. Inheriting some of these agreements, we all know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
However, I think that the engagement process that is ongoing, it's well.
Very well.
And they are saying that, listen, can we do this
next year?
You know, next year. Mind you, if the next year's budget will be read this year, so even if they don't
finds representation in
exactly, then everybody can go home smiling. But if you say, oh, listen, you can't implement it, and you know when they mention the 2026, it sounds very far. They don't even mention, oh, it's just next year.
6 months into
it. 6 months into a government. I'm sure this thing can easily be resolved so that we prevent the unnecessary deaths. Women who are pregnant go to hospital, you know, they are either, you know, dead or they don't come home with their babies. People who have some little pain that can be treated easily, you know, they go there because there's no nurse around and all that. The doctors can't work properly. And then it results in, you know, deaths. I think something has to be done about it. We need to judge more.
Yeah, and I think that's something we all agree around the table.
I don't think Honorable agrees.
Oh, he does. The need to engage and, of course, arrest this situation before it escalates to the loss of life.
No, listen,
but thank you, gentlemen.
Conditions of service, the nurses are leaving the country. They are leaving the country.
Thank you, gentlemen. This has been the News Review segment here on Breakfast Daily. Stay with us on the show. There's a lot more coming your way.
They are leaving.